We are live. I think it's working. I don't know. Having some issues with stuff not loading correctly. So, let me share this to my friend. And then we will dig into this. This is TEW 2020. And I'm sure by now, if you're watching this, you've had at least some interest in trying this booking simulator out for a while now. If not, well, I don't know what you're doing here. No, I'm just kidding. It is a really cool booking simulator, though. It's been going on for a long time. Adam Ryland, the creator, started making booking simulators over 20 years ago. And I am very proud to say that I have played every single one of his wrestling simulators. So that's pretty exciting, I think. I started playing back in high school on EWR. And in a minute, I'm going to actually get into showing some things in here, by the way. So it's not going to just be on this screen the whole time, just so you know. But I started playing EW. Actually, it was not EWR. It was something else. It had WWF, ECW, and WCW on it. And it was like old school, like Atari text and colors. And it was pretty... Looking back on it, it was pretty bad. At the time, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And so I remember playing this, and I don't think there was any... Like, you could give guys stats of, like, 1 through 9 or 1 through 10 or something. And it was really cool. It was a lot of fun. But you couldn't pick the winners. Like, you were very limited in what you could and couldn't do. And it was fun still. You know, I played it for a while. Me and my friend, we ended up putting our imaginary wrestling promotions with our imaginary wrestlers into it. And, we did our thing, right? My buddy had an old backyard fed where him and his friends used to wrestle on the trampoline kind of thing. And so he put all his in. And every now and then we'd put our guys in each other's promotions just to see how they do. And again, it was awesome. And then shortly after that, I started playing EWR, and we did the same thing there, but it was mostly real world. And basically, every iteration has added so much to it, though, right? You could then pick who won, and the idea was you wanted to get guys as over as you could and make a bunch of money and run other companies out of business. And, the first TEW, I remember that being groundbreaking back when it was... Oh, gosh, it was before Grey Dog. It was another company. But... that was a pretty good game. And been playing TEW 2016 now for a few years, and I still play it. Like, I was playing it a couple weeks ago. In fact, I was playing it last week, even after this demo came out and stuff. Or even after the release of this for a couple of days. The purchase of this. So then I bought this, and this is the screen. First of all, I like how they set this up. So you can do achievements. So you got this. So obviously it says I've completed 5 years of a single career. I simulated 5 years. I did not actually book every match for a year. I guess I've held 100 matches though. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, so lots of achievements. That's pretty cool. You got the credits, all the people that worked on it. Good deal. You can change skins. So far, I've tried a couple. I've tried these from the Killing the Business mod, but I still like the traditional. I just think it looks the best. When you go to edit databases now, so let's get out of that. When you go to edit databases now, it's completely different than it used to be. Instead of having all the buttons you can pick, it's a drop-down menu now. And, so far for me, the only thing I adjusted, because I'm using a real world mod for June 2020, I got rid of Brian Cage's injury, and I also gave, because of something that happened on Dynamite last night, I gave myself a couple wrestlers who are now in AEW. I put their contracts in for AEW, so I wouldn't have to go in and negotiate every time I start a new game. But yeah, it's going to take some getting used to. There's some really cool like traits you can assign to guys, and it just makes them more lifelike. And you can talk to guys now that you couldn't do before, and I'm going to show you all of that. But you can see here I've got an AEW game started. But let's go back. Let's start with creating a new game. And something I haven't done yet, I'm going to check out playing as a development company. A development company, in case you guys aren't sure, is like NXT is considered development, or OVW for the longest time was development. The WCW power plant was a development. Well, that was more training, but you get my point, right? You had, what was it? OVW, and then NWA Wildside was WCW's development company back in the day. So there's lots of different things like that. Let's just call this NXT, and let's just start the new game and see what happens. So this game is definitely better than the previous one. I will say that. There are some things that really annoy me about it, though. And it's the ease of use, right? So everything about this is easier to use to how it used to be. You know, like they did a really good job of making things quicker, right? Like you can do almost everything you need to from this one screen, and you go to this screen and you can do almost everything you need to there. But the thing that is harder, that I find I spend a lot of time doing or have done, is going through unemployed workers, right? So if I go into my worker filter and I set it to unemployed, then I typically have to scroll, or I used to use my arrow button to scroll through workers so I could see them quickly, see their stats, whatever. Well, you can't do that anymore. Now you literally have to click on each guy. And I'll show you here in a second what I'm talking about. Something that's kind of cool that they added is these like story cards or slideshows that you can put in mods. So when you go to start a new game, it's got stuff. So this is the Killing the Business one. They got one slide. The default database comes with multiples. It comes with one for each area. I could in old mods like 87 mod, including things like Jim Crockett Promotions slide, a WWE slide, and you can go through all of them to see what's going on with the territories, right? There's a lot of cool things that can be done with these to kind of bring somebody up to speed on what's going on, either if you want to do it by territories, if you want to do it by companies, if you want to do it by regions, whatever. Or you could even put the top stars, a slide for each top star or something. So anyways, I don't know who these guys are. Not going to worry about it. I'm playing as NXT, right? So let's go and... Who do I want to be the owner of NXT? So this is what I'm talking about. I used to, if I was in a screen like this, I could select a guy. Let's say I select Abyss. And then I'd be able to hit the arrow key. And it would move through the guys. I can't do that anymore. So right here, right off the bat, I'm already annoyed. So, of course, I'm going to choose Triple H. So I don't know if he's in here as Triple H. He is. Okay. Perfect. So, right here, you can see current honors, NXT CEO Booker. So, I'm going to make him my user character. Starting reputation, it says 76. I'll leave that. That's fine. User talents, I'm just going to apply the template because I like to cheat. I use the Sofie cheat code, and I'm going to show you how I do that too. But it gives you max stats. Anyway, so in here now, so if you're looking at a worker, this is the same as when you're looking at your worker screen. It's got skills here, right? So you can look at all their skills. Booking reputation, booking skill. I think booking skill is more important, personally. But it's got all that. Over here you got popularity. Well, if you slide this over, you can look at his own employment stats. So how much he costs, how much time's left on his contract, right? Behind skills, you can do the same thing. Those attributes I was talking about. So these make for some really awesome things that will happen. So basically it tells you which gimmicks they can do really well or they can't do. Being professional is a big deal. I've found in my TCW playthrough in the Cornellverse that professional is really nice. It doesn't lend itself to a bad backstage behavior, and that's awesome. Something like Creative Dynamo is cool too, because in that they they'll come up with new catchphrases a lot, which adds to the match quality, adds to different their like interviews and things like that. So that's kind of cool. Fitness Fanatic probably keeps him in good shape for a long period of time. So you got that. Now, once we pick a guy, screen, like our own roster screen, you can change who their managers are and stuff by clicking in this section where it says occasional and personality. It's not going to let me do it here. So you can do that. Let's look at the preferences. So I'm not fully sure about how all these work yet. New ones in here. I kind of wish there would be there's a question mark up here, which is nice. You can always do this, right? And it opens up the instructions on how to play the game and how these different things impact it, right? So under here, user preferences at the bottom here, you can actually click on the things that you're not fully aware of and how they work, right? So mandatory pre-TV booking. If enabled, eligible TV shows will be penalized if the user does not provide enough good quality pre-book content. In other words, you have to pre-book your main event and maybe a match or two more. If you don't, your show is going to suffer ratings penalties, which is realistic, and you're going to suffer penalties to the actual show grade as well. So there's that, things like that. I tend to do more fantasy booking. So if you see here, I don't have an overuse penalties. I disabled the match aim requirements because I don't like the fact that you have to have a storytelling match on the show, or you have to have a hardcore match on every show. It's all dependent on your product. But I don't like the fact that guys get pissed off if they're left off of shows, especially when you might be doing it for a storyline purpose or whatever. Things like that. So that's just what we're going to roll with. And I'm going to play this character. There are unused characters in the database. Would you like all of them to be removed from the game world? Let's say no. Would you like to keep all of them? Sure. Doesn't matter to me. Select the company you want to start the game with. So obviously I'm going to be NXT. So from this screen, you can look at the product. Tells you what they do well, what they don't do, kind of how to book them, which is cool. You can look at the roster. Adam Cole's the first one that pops up here. Adam Cole. And in the top right corner, it's kind of nice too, because it tells you their experience and stuff like that. But he's professional. He's a risk taker, better as a heel, amazing heel, plays swagger well, all that cool stuff, right? The champion, Finn Balor. Again, has warm momentum, driven, loves the business, heavy social media user. So anyways, you got some cool stuff in here. Keith Lee. He plays dominant well, plays swagger well, plays badass well. Can't play comedy, can't play legitimate, yada, yada, yada. Poor comedy matches, which I find hard to believe. I feel like he'd probably be pretty good in that role. So anyways, that's how that works, right? So close out of that part. Let's tour we don't really need to tour the company, but you can see here, it's got Triple H as a CEO, as the booker. We have no figurehead. Figurehead is like what Hulk Hogan was to the WWF in the late 80s and early 90s. It's Sting or maybe even, not Ric Flair, because typically you don't make a heel your figurehead, but it would be more like Sting in the early 90s to WCW, or John Cena to the WWF, ruthless aggression era, But basically you want it to be your top babyface who's going to drive merch sales, drive ratings, and you get bonuses based on how good they are as your figurehead, which is awesome. I have to admit, I like that feature. It does take a while, or it used to in the previous edition, to kick in and actually matter. So we are going to play as owner. Actually, let's tour the company like I was saying we were going to do. So this is just like in the old ones. It tells you how we are financially, tells you how many TV shows, and then it shows you your top 5 stars. And it has a little blurb of each one of them. Like Finn Balor, veteran with 19 years of experience, the reigning NXT Women's World Champion, Charlotte Flair, Tommaso Ciampa, who oozes star quality championship champion, Adam Cole, and Velveteen Dream, a former Young Wrestler of the Year award winner. So yeah, we're going to play as the owner. Boom. Just telling me it's a development company, and WWE might take my guys, might send guys, might give me objectives they want me to do. I played as NXT before. I'm going to continue. So this is your main screen. So every single time you simulate, when it boots up, it's going to bring you here. You've got articles on the right here. For example, Brock Lesnar gives tips. Made a brief appearance on a TV show last night, an interviewee for the Cashing In Financial Show. Part of the segment on highly paid sports stars, the WWE wrestler who is said to be the highest paid grappler in the world on a $158,500 a month contract wasn't on screen very long, but did represent wrestling pretty well. So that's good. But all over here, you got different things. You got news, you got diary. Diary, I think, is your own stuff. Yeah, you can see in here, it tells you what's coming up. You can do it by I guess that's just TV. Never mind. So anyways, that doesn't matter. Anyways, it tells you the top ranked companies. So in the entire world, WWE is the most over. In the USA, it's WWE, AEW, NXT. So you can see their size underneath it. Large, medium, small. So that's kind of cool. Power 500 is your top 500 wrestlers in the world. So, and you can sort it by year. So once you've played a couple years, or if you've simulated a few years, in this case, the mod has gone back to, say, 2010. AJ Styles was the #1 wrestler in the world, according to, I think they used the PWI list when they did this for the mod. But anyways, Seth Rollins is #1, Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles. So those are your top 3 guys in the world wrestling. All right, so let's close. Oops, no. Don't want to do that. Nope. Click back. Other cool stuff. You got a Hall of Immortals, which is like the Hall of Fame for your company. So, or actually, I don't think it's for your company. I think it's in general, but I could be wrong. Annual awards. Wrestler of the Year, Tag Team, yada, yada, yada. Every year, based on what happens over the year and ratings, we recalculate. And that's cool. Most popular in the whole world is The Undertaker, Brock Lesnar. This is just based on popularity. All of these are just really nice little tools. So with that, let's go over to our office. So when you go to your office, this is where you're going to do a lot of things here. You're going to see down here, you have all these notes from your assistant of what you need to do. No storylines running, so I need to add storylines. And I have not had a season finale yet. So season finale would be like WrestleMania. It's where basically things reset. You can do a brand split, chemistry. You can see what everyone's chemistry is. However, since it's a new game, I haven't discovered any yet. You got a creative screen where you can look at who your franchise players are as your top guys, and it tells you at the top there. You can go through different things like who are your hot prospects, who's your better talkers, who are your best flashy, good, 5-star match style wrestlers. Who are the wrestlers who can piece together a good match with practically anybody? Who's got good momentum? Whose momentum is in the toilet? And then hidden gems are free agents that might work well for your company. So these are some guys that's saying we should look at hiring. And I do a couple of those, so probably won't do it though. Figurehead is exactly what we talked about. And, before you select anybody, it's got these blurbs about how good they would be, right? Like Keith Lee, charismatic and over. However, he's lacking these things. You can look at stables. So stables in here are really cool too. This one doesn't have it, but stables now will have logos in the top left corner if the mod has put them in, or if you're using the default setting, the default universe, the Kernelverse, all of the staples have logos. You can see it's got the roles of each guy. So Adam Cole's the leader, Bobby Fish is a member, Kyle O'Reilly is a member, and Roderick Strong is a member. You can have them set as lackeys. You can have them set as the heir apparent to taking over for Adam Cole or whoever the leader, and all sorts of things like that. You can have a guy set to just be the muscle. So basically he's there just to be like a bodyguard. You've got all sorts of things like that, which is awesome. Storylines. I have not played with storylines too much. Let's just say I want to set up Adam Cole versus, I don't know, I'll just choose Keith Lee or something. That just seems like a good one, even though they're both champs. You could do a supporting role for, say, Oh, what's his name? Dijakovic. I can't think of his first name. Let's put in... There he is. Dominic Dijakovic. So champion versus champion. There we go. That's what I'm going to call that storyline. Now, Dominic Dijakovic is aligned with Keith Lee. Boom. So I can change his alignment. As you're doing your storyline, you might want to change. You might want to add notes in here like Adam Cole feels threatened by Keith Lee. And maybe you'll change it to Adam Cole attack. Well, you wouldn't add all the little notes, but you might put key things in there. I don't know, just some reminders, right? So anyway, so there's that. And you need to have however many. It says you need at least 2 storylines with at least 35 heat. At the top, it's telling you all that. Tag teams. So tag teams are about the same as it used to be. Nothing new here. You got, let's see, Broserweights, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne. Tells you all the titles they've held. You can do the finishers. Good stuff, right? Undisputed Era. All right. Titles. So they have done some things, I think, a little bit differently with titles. I think you can actually, you can edit the title and you can write a blurb about it. You weren't able to write about them before, but you might find yourself, if you have a world title that's very prestigious, or it's not prestigious yet, but you want to add to the flair of it. You might say, okay, these are the people that have held the title, and you'd list out like notable people who have held it, maybe like 4 or 5 or whatever. I don't know, just something that adds to the flavor of the game, right? Let's see if I go to they don't have anything written in here in this mod. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot though that you can do with it to again add a lot of flavor to it. And this is a text-based game, so if you're not into text-based games, this isn't for you. But the other thing is tournaments are kind of cool, so you can look at your completed tournaments, go active tournaments. You can choose a new elimination or a round-robin format tournament, and all it does is kind of keep track of it. You can use some of the notes in the booking part to advance the tournament, though. Let's look at the roster. So this is, again, that part that I was talking about where you can't scroll down. However, say I wanted to change something about Adam Cole. I wanted to give him a manager. I'm going to go down into this little area right here, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to wait. Maybe I have to click the wrestler part. Okay, I do. I could add different things to him. Like I could make him a manager. Right here, I could give him a manager. I could put him in a division. I could edit his moveset. So I can go in here and I can, add some moves to him. I'm not going to. I can put a mask on him. Over here, I can give bonuses or time off. So that'd be money. This would be time off. How long could you give him? Up to 6 months. And you can make it unpaid as well. So that's kind of cool. Other thing that's really awesome is let's get out of this screen. So you can see how that kind of works. It's pretty self-explanatory. Actually, I want to talk to him. I can ask him to work in different areas. So this is all the notes. If I go to career, I can ask him to work in different areas. I can ask him what he thinks of changing his role. I can ask him to retire. Now, I don't know why you would want to do that necessarily, but I think that's kind of interesting. Booking. You can talk to him about turning him a face, switching his gimmicks, if he's willing to lose to people, like this putting someone over thing. So let's just see if he's willing to put Keith Lee over. Do you have to double click it? I'm willing to do that. A new promise has been made. It is good for 1 match and will expire in 1 month. In other words, he's willing to take the pinfall loss to Keith Lee, right? Is he willing to have his head shaved on an event, TV show? Are you willing to take crazy bumps, stunt bumps? Are you comfortable doing matches with high content risk? Would wrestling a match with a high risk of injury be an issue? How would you feel about doing a death match? And then in ring, you got different things like changing his style in the ring. Physical, you can ask him to get muscular. steroids can do wonders for some people. So you can ask them to do steroids. Once you learn about their lifestyle choices, such as if they drink, if they're a soft drug user, I think you can do some things with the lifestyle section. I have not experienced that yet, though. So he has made a promise to me that he is willing to lose to Keith Lee. Now, promises are down here under business management. If you click it, it's got it right here. Adam Cole has agreed to put over Keith Lee. It expires in 1 match or 28 days. So I got 28 days for him to drop to Keith Lee. So that's cool, right? You can mess with your announcers just like in the past. That's not anything new, and you can do it by event or TV show. And you can set it so it's only actual announcers, which, interesting that it's got someone like Matt Bloom as an announcer, but hey, whatever. You can see your broadcasters, so WWE Network, Fox 8, USA Network, all these different places, right? How big your coverage is globally, all sorts of stuff like that. You can look at your events and TV shows. So it tells you the ones that are dormant, which means that they're not actively being used, and then the ones up here that are. You can add a new TV show, modify the TV show, add a new event, all that. Pre-booking. This is the thing we were talking about a little bit ago. You can select your show, your event, whatever, and then you can add an angle or a match. And then when you go into the show, or when it's time to do the show, you can actually just add from the pre-booker into your show. And it helps you boost your ratings and attendance and all that stuff. Show history if you've run shows, top 100s. Business management. So this is this is what makes this game so great. You can change different things about your company. So, for example, I'm going to give myself a masseuse. I'm going to organize hotels. I'm going to give them a chiropractor. Hotels are paid for. I'm going to say, I'll leave that alone. Transportation is paid for. And I'm going to add the 3-hour pre-show arrival time. And I'm going to save the rules. And that upped my backstage rating. So I'm not 90% as a backstage rating. So there are 2 guys who are negative influences, which typically I would consider getting rid of them if they aren't people I actually give a crap about. Let's see. We are development, so we can't do anything there. Could drug test. We can invest in a new belt. Oh, it won't let me. Won't let me do investments. Interesting. I didn't know that wasn't possible. You can put people in your own Hall of Fame, induct workers or a team. You can do house shows, which you come in here, and then you can actually start adding, hey, how does Adam Cole and Triple H work as, let's go managed by. Boom. And then after like a week or so, I'll find out how that works. Other cool things, merchandise. So in the past, you can't tell right now, but if I simulate a day and I go into merchandise, you're going to see individual workers' sales. And after a month, you'll see how they did last month. So that's an awesome feature. So you might have like John Cena pulling in over $1 million a month, whereas like Kofi Kingston might only bring in like $3 a month, right? So that's a nice new feature. Size tells you what you need to do to get to the next size. What tier is for your current size. So that's kind of helpful. Let's see. You can adjust your ticket prices. So you might see me free, and they all have their different benefits and negatives. Like if you're at free, you're obviously going to have a bigger attendance. You're going to have higher merchandise. And you're actually going to do a better job of gaining fans. So, like right here, you can say, tell me about free. And then it tells you down here, you don't charge anything. Attractive. Using this pricing boosts your potential popularity gains. Because it's that whole, the idea of the idea that you're willing to just do what it takes to please the fans. So So when you go to the care workers and you want to hire somebody, it's too laborious to kind of sift through every guy in this edition. Whereas before, you may have spent 20 minutes just using your arrow key to go through a bunch of guys. So The one thing they've done here that I think is awesome is when you do a filter in here, it keeps the filter. So if I know for NXT, I always want star quality. I always decent star quality. Let's just go 50. And I always want it to be somebody I can hire, not view. And, you know, let's just say I'm not looking for female wrestlers. I'm only looking for men, active wrestlers, and nobody older than 35. Yeah. And let's say I'm not looking for any small guys. I'm looking for big guys. I can change this to middleweight or lightweight. We'll go middleweight. And they have to speak English because I don't have a lot of non-English speakers on the roster. All right, so with that, we will go search. And these are all the guys that came up. But not that bad. So, for example, I can go to Dax Harwood. And, you know, which I'm not going to. Oh, Cody Hall. Good one. Triple H Hall. Maybe Scott Hall gave me a call and said, hey, I want you to bring my son into NXT and try to get him over. Let's give him the rub, you know? Let's not this. Let's shoot. Let's do a shoot and bring Cody into the clique in NXT. I don't know. Anyways. So I'm going to look him over. He's driven, better as a heel. Poor comedy matches. His skills are not very good, as you can see. And that's fine. Yeah. You know, he's not going to be a superstar. And if he is, it's going to be with a lot of work on my part. But do all this, right? You can look at stuff. Now, I believe in real life, he's unemployed on here, but I thought he was in Noah for a minute. But either way, view his profile, and you can still talk to this guy. So if I go, I'd like you to consider moving to be based closer to NXT. I'm happy where I am. Now, that conversation might be different if I've hired him. So here's what's really cool about the negotiations now. So negotiate. And first came out in the demo, people were confused about it all. So you can do exclusive written, which means they cannot work anywhere else. Exclusive handshake, it's the same thing. They can't work anywhere else. A written deal, which means they're just like, it's a signed written contract. They can still work elsewhere. Like, I could hire him to NXT and he can go work in AEW with this kind of deal. The ironclad clause is what also was throwing people off. Clad meant that they were exclusive. It doesn't. Ironclad just means they have to honor the contract. So if I've got a 5-year contract in ironclad, they have to work with me that whole 5 years. Okay? With a handshake deal, you can have exclusive handshake. But with a handshake deal, it can never be ironclad. So watch, if I try to do it, it's going to say only written contracts can be ironclad. You can't force somebody, even if it's the exclusive handshake or a regular handshake, you can't force them to honor their word and stay for the duration that you put in here. So I'm going to go written, not exclusive. I'm going to leave him open because I want him to work elsewhere and get better because he sucks. At least in the ratings in this. I actually think Cody Hall's not that bad, to be honest. Like, he's not like putting on 5-star matches, but I'm entertained by him. But anyways, so ironclad, and then you can do per month or per show. Now it's going to change the amount of money they want. So if it's per month, it's $4,500. If it's per show, it's $40. Typically, it's going to be cheaper to do a per show deal. I'm going to do per month just because it's whatever. It's easier. I'm going to leave it as 1-year deal. And down here, you can do quite a bit of other stuff. This you could do in previous editions. But it gives you more control. Like, oh, I want to use you as a future main eventer. Like, he's going to expect to win a lot. You could choose, especially with an older guy, you might say, oh, you're going to do everything but house shows. Or you might only do events. That would be like a Brock Lesnar deal. You can expect a bonus for events, right? Or per show, or per TV show. I don't tend to do anything with stuff like that. Merchandise, again, same thing. Your travel costs covered, not covered. To sweeten the deal, I'm willing to offer you, and you can offer like creative control, all this cool stuff. Wage matching, which don't do that if you don't want the guy to be the absolute top paid guy in the company. But I'm just going to offer him a per month written deal of $4,500. We'll just make that deal. And I don't know how we'll work him in here yet, but we'll see. So anyways, did that. Now, I'm not going to do much else here. I told you my gripe. My only gripe really so far with the game is that having to arrow through things. Now, down at the bottom here, you can change what shows up here and in what order. If you click on this, it allows you to change which buttons are where. So that's kind of cool. You also have the notepad. So if I say I wanted to say, okay, Cody Hall to be pushed hard with Scott Hall and Triple H helping. So maybe I'll bring in Scott Hall to be his manager or something. So now that'll always show up in my notepad. Or if I had an email that says, Adam Cole thinks Cody Hall is not going to amount to much, needs to learn how to sell better or something, you could put those notes in here too, because once you delete the email, it's gone. If you've got any action items to settle, it's this check mark thing here. You come in, and it'll be a different color when you have them. And so then you can come in here and you can complete your signings when they're available. This is your diary. I showed you guys that before. So now in this screen, though, it shows you whose contracts are expiring. So that's awesome. It's very helpful, especially if you're like, man, I don't know if I want to put the belt on this guy. Oh, his contract expires in 2 months. I should probably think about not doing that or whatever. And then your email folder. You can look at all the training facilities in the world. So, we've got all this. WWE Performance Center, for example, and it shows you the alumni, all that stuff. So their attendance, so they can have 14. You can upgrade your own training centers and stuff, too, to make them better, which is really cool. The UK Performance Center doesn't have... interesting. There's a couple it doesn't have that would be kind of cool to add to this, but that's okay. You can look at alliances. So in this, it's got WWE Universe as an alliance. You got the IWGP, which is a few different companies over here. And the CMLL. So you got those. You can look at broadcasters, so all the different companies that air your TV shows, which is cool. And the game world. So this will tell you about the economy and stuff by region, which is very helpful, especially if you run local shows only. So you can see how it'll do, the bigger venues, things like that. And this is what we were talking about before, if you want to put in the Sofie Code, this has been going on since the early days of TEW, I think. EWR had something to do with her. I think she was like your assistant in that. And so anyways, you just go into remote help, type it in, and bloop, your avatar now has maximum points in all user talents. There's other cheat codes that you can find on the forums at Grey Dog Software. They've been going around for years and years, and they're probably all pretty much the same still. Let's see. If you're playing 2-player, you can switch players. You can advance multiple days, which is awesome. So it's Monday, but you could, in theory, if you didn't have any shows, you could just advance 5 years, or just advance forever until you hit the space bar. I'm just going to advance 1 day. And like I said, I think this game is awesome. I've really had fun booking shows. You got to be careful when booking your angles. You used to be able to just go, I'm rating them on overness. You need to rate them on something else. If you're rating them on overness and it's more than a minute or two angle, then it's the crowd doesn't care and they crap all over it and it gets a terrible rating. So if you want good ratings, like say you have Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre in a segment, you don't want them to just be rated on overness unless it's like a 1 or 2 minute angle. If you want to use up like some time, 5 or 6 minutes, you might want it to be a fighting angle or a microphone angle. Someone's going to be talking. That's kind of the gist there. So let's see. Oh, there's a full draft for their brands they did. Interesting. I've never seen that. Interesting. So that means things got switched up on the main roster. You can see right here, nothing down here is highlighted, so I didn't get any new news. So let's skip another day. And I'm actually gonna try and hire Scott Hall too. So I need to tweak I'm gonna go into my workers, all the workers in the world, and I'm going to reset my parameters. So let's see what we got here. That's not what I wanted. Oh, Paul, you're here. It does look pretty good. Yeah, the game looks awesome, dude. Sorry if I'm like going way too in depth. Oh, so right here, if you go into the workers, click that, go to search, and in the bottom right corner it just says reset, so that's cool. Boom, reset. Now I'm going to try to find Scott Hall, but because they added I think they had the search bar before, but let's just type in Scott and see what comes up. There we go. Scott Hall. I know I want him to manage his son. So let's negotiate. Oh, he's on hiatus. All right, well, fine. We'll shortlist him so that when he's off of his hiatus, I will get an email. That sucked. That really sucked. Well, I need a manager for him now. Whatever. I'll just pair him up with someone else. So then let's get rid of that. So there used to get an error if you put in nothing up here. But, so the way to do it now is to do that, I think. Yeah. So if you would leave this blank and then click search here, it would give you a crash. But they fixed it. They've had, in the short time this game's been out, it's been like a patch almost every day. There have been a couple days that they've actually skipped over. So you need to learn. Yeah, but it's cool. So I'm only going to do this for another like 10 minutes because I have another stream on my other channel. But me and Paula are painting minis tonight, by the way. All right, so let's see. Today's it's Wednesday. Okay. I'm gonna bomb the show, but let's just do it. I don't remember which edition you said you had played before. However, is Cody Hall even still alive? Yeah, he's alive. He's gonna be on my roster next week. Okay, when you get into your booking screen here, you've got things down here at the bottom. Things that are highlighted in yellow mean they need to be resolved. So, absent workers doesn't really need to be resolved, but you can look, and Io Shirai is injured again, of course, as usual. Thanks, Nia Jax, or whoever hurt her this time. And then you can look at your incidents here. So, incident involving William Regal and Brian Kendrick. There was an incident involving William Regal and Brian Kendrick. Okay, click view. William Regal has been passing on tips on using psychology to his protege, Brian Kendrick. William Regal does not have a defined personality and currently has a normal morale. Brian Kendrick does not have a defined personality and currently has a normal morale. So they might have like a problematic personality type, and depending on what's going on, this might make them happy, might make them unhappy. It all just depends on personality types and the event itself. So there's that. Now here's something that's really cool. Before, you could only do this on your pay-per-views or your big events. But now you can do locker room stuff. You can do one thing, and that is it. You can't do anything else. So you could fire somebody dramatically. You could pull a rib on someone. And again, you want to take into account people's personality types. Metal is the one I'm always trying to do, but it's really difficult. So what I've found is based on personality types, having someone like who's retired. So Adam Pearce might be a good one. And if I had Cody Hall, maybe I'd try to like encourage them to have a positive relationship. I don't know. Chelsea Green. Let's go Chelsea Green and Charlotte Flair. Let's meddle in their relationship. So it tells you whether it's going to possibly fail or succeed. So anyways, and it tells you if you did it negative, which I don't know why you would want to negatively meddle unless it's too like the Click, like it's Diesel and Shawn Michaels, and they're causing problems because of their personality type, so you want to like break them up as friends. Maybe then you want a negative meddle with them, but other than that, I don't know why you would want to. But anyways, let's try it. Meddling had no effect at this time. I was trying to make them friends. Oh well, they don't want to be friends. That's fine. So you can book your venue now. You can go back to your office if you need to look at your office for something. But yeah, you can book your venue. I usually don't even worry about that. I let the computer book my venues. And you can actually book your shows. So when booking your shows, you've got, again, it's a really simple screen here, but looking at your booking analysis is really important. So you're expected to advance at least one storyline. So I set up the Adam Cole one, so that should be easy. You can look at your champions, so titles. So the North American title is Keith Lee. The world title is Adam Cole. Stuff like that. You can look at the past defenses, which obviously they're not in there right now because I haven't. You can track prestige as it's gone up or down over the months. You can hire somebody. So say I want to hire somebody local. I could bring Adam Rose back for a single show. Let's do it. Let's just do it. No, you are totally going to be in ring. And yeah, you'll work as a heel, and I'm going to have you get your butt kicked. I have no interest in doing in-ring work. What? Why? Why are you retired? Fine. Let's bring in Glacier. He's retired too. Gosh, Kevin Nash is retired. Everyone's retired. Rockstar Spud. There you go. So this is how you could keep him into this tournament that you have. Just keep hiring him for one night or something. Whatever is needed, heel. Great. You're going to make $1,200 for this one show. Let's do it. Perfect. All right, so Rockstar Spud. Now, something that I use a lot because I'm pretty lazy sometimes is Autobooker. Just because a lot of times I'm trying to develop people, but you can use it for booking only matches or a single match, and you can choose the level of people in the show, right? Like unimportant guys would be like basically complete jobbers, and it would be a jobber versus jobber. Same thing with angles. You can do that. But I'm just going to say book the whole show. Boom. And we'll see. It added 14 segments. So, Austin Theory versus Finn Balor in the main event. Only 12 minutes in length. Crap. All right, let's go and make Finn Balor the winner. Add the road agent note. Now, the cool thing is, up here, you can see all the different road agent notes. But it's kind of daunting when you look at it like that. So, you could do it like this. You can go and pick your winner. Match aims. These are those things that I only use occasionally. Most of the time, my matches are regular. But if I've got like Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock at WrestleMania, I'm probably going to call it like an epic or once in a lifetime. And if they're good wrestlers and you do it correctly, and based on the notes here, which also, if you're smart, you'll read up on the type of matches in here. Because again, that question mark is on every single window, and you can read up on what you don't know about. But if you're smart and you use these notes correctly, you can put on like just killer ratings. Individual focus. So say I'll say Finn Balor is to dominate. Boom. And let's say the match style is going to be scripted. And it'll be an all-out match because I want these guys to put on a good show still. Because it's the main event. It will be a decisive win. You don't have to do all these notes. You can actually leave them blank too, and sometimes it'll be even better. It's going to be a pinfall. But you can add like DQ finishes, whether screwy finish, dusty DQ finish. There's a screw job too. Is that in this part? Maybe that's in the extras. This is where you can put like interference. You can have a guy just at ringside for the heck of it. So just because, I don't know. Let's put Adam Cole at ringside. I don't know. All right, here it is. So screw jobs. Basically, you can redo the Montreal screw job, like where the loser has no idea he's about to lose. If you have two guys who are in the tournament fighting and you don't want it to apply to the tournament, you have to add this note. You can ban certain types of moves, advanced storyline, so on and so forth. And the cool thing is when you select the things, it shows you here what that does. So we've got that. You just X out of it once you've got your notes there. And book the segment. Boom. Now, let's add a brand new match. Because at first this was a little tricky to me, trying to book matches in this one, because it's not like any of the others. So I'm just going to do a tag team match. And I'm going to put it in the pre-show. And So again, there's all this stuff, right? So if you want to change who your road agent is, right here. If you want to change your referee, you can do that right there. Your announcing team. Let's just add Adam Cole again. Oh, I can't. All. Beth Phoenix, see ya. Adam Cole's there. Then, to put your wrestlers in it, you come to these and you click on one of the squares. Bloop. And it brings this up. Now, if you're doing this and you are like, man, I don't know who's on the show or who's not, there's this exclude already booked button in the bottom corner. Click that, and there you go. So I'm going to go Fandango, Tyler Breeze. And I'm just curious, if I click on it, is he a face or a heel? Right now, working babyface. So with that, let's go and go heels only. Let's go tag teams. So I sorted by tag teams. Let's make it males only. And I don't know who these guys are, but let's go with them. Rinku and Sarev. They look cool. They kind of look like a Viking Raiders group. I don't know. We'll do that, though. All right. Auto name. 15 minutes probably too long for those new guys. And then we add the road agent notes again. I'm going to have Tyler Breeze win. But I'm going to... we're going to go... Well, because this is in the pre-show, we'll work the crowd to get the crowd warmed up. We're then going to keep strong these other guys. So Rinku... And that's so they don't lose popularity, basically. But technically, it's supposed to make them look good. You can protect them, too. It's the same kind of thing. We're going to script it, because I'm sure those guys can't call matches in the ring. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to make this... So Tyler Breeze wins because of DQ. DQ finish. Basically, they use a weapon or something. And yeah. And then, boom, book segment. So I have no idea how well the show's going to do. It's probably going to bomb. I'm going to book an angle also, since I didn't show you that. It's going to be a pre-show angle. And you can use these from before, but they're just not the best. I'm going to go with a freestyle angle. So freestyle angle is whatever you want it to be. Okay? I'm going to put... Again, just sticking with the theme here, Adam Cole and Dominik Dijakovic. Actually, let's go Keith Lee. I don't want to bomb the segment. Let's say Keith Lee is rated on microphone and Adam Cole is rated on microphone. So we can make this a longer segment and go auto name. Now, book notes. If you don't do this, it will not advance the storyline. In the past, you didn't have to do that, and it would automatically do it for you. So there. Book. Now, I want to show you a bad angle where the fans are not happy about it. So let's go Finn Balor. And doesn't matter. We'll go Matt Riddle. We'll go overness and overness. We'll leave it at 5 minutes just because I want you to see. And we're not even going to add a road agent. No, we'll just book it. All right, cool. Successful. Good. Crap. I don't know why OBS did that. I'm on my old laptop, so sometimes things don't work right. Shawn Michaels. And, yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of the deal here. You kind of get it. I think it's an awesome game. If you hit finish show, it gives you your little notes and stuff. And I think it's a good game. I definitely say pick it up if you're interested. And yeah, I don't think you'll be sorry as long as you've got time to give it. I'm actually thinking of streaming an AEW game where